biggest thing I'm seeing is that you're in your own way. Maybe you're someone who feels like I am doing a lot to make this happen, but I'm telling you, that's what it takes. You have a big goal. You want to maybe pivot industries or change functions, and you want 40% salary increase, and you want to move cities. That's a big freaking goal. It's not going to happen by accident. Welcome back to the podcast, my friends. We are halfway through the year. I'm recording this episode in the beginning of July. You'll probably hear it a little bit later in the month. So we're more than halfway through the year. And I actually wasn't planning to record an episode today, but I'm feeling very fired up today. And I thought, you know what? While I'm feeling this energy, we should do this specific episode. It's for you if you had a goal for 2025 to land your dream six-figure role that you actually love, that you are challenged by, where you're growing, where you have an amazing manager, but it hasn't happened yet. And maybe you're someone who feels like I am doing a lot to make this happen, and I'm still not there, and I still don't have that offer. This episode is for you. Now, this episode will be full of tough love. So, if you know you're not someone who wants to hear the truth, if you are someone who just wants to hear that, you're doing great, you're doing amazing, just keep going, this episode is not. This episode is not for you. I will give it to you straight in this episode. And this episode is really inspired by some of the conversations that I've been having with you guys recently. And I thought, you know what? Let's dive into what I'm seeing in the market with you guys right now. Overall, the biggest thing I'm seeing is that you're in your own way, meaning you have a lot of drama going on in your head when it comes to job search. And that's exactly what's keeping you stuck. So let's break it down. The first thing that I'm hearing is I'm doing a lot already. Like, this is a lot. Job search is a lot, and I'm doing a lot. And when I hear that, I start digging deeper and I start asking you questions. Okay, well, what does it mean when you say that you're doing a lot? What does that look like? And typically it looks like, well, I am online every single day. I'm scrolling through roles on LinkedIn. I'm looking at what's available. I am tailoring my resume. So that's a few hours to submit that application. And that's, let's say, most nights. So I'm spending 8, 10, 15 hours on job search every single week. And it's exhausting, it's a lot of time, and it feels like I'm doing a lot already. Some of you even tell me, "Hey, I've been trying to reach out to people when I see a role." And again, it feels like I'm doing all of those extra steps. Now, I have two things to say to that. First, if you've been listening to the podcast, you already know that just tailoring your resume and submitting applications online at mid to senior level in this job market, in this new reality of a job market, is just not going to cut it. So, what you're doing is essentially busy work. So, you feel busy, you feel like you're doing a lot, but it's not moving the needle because it's just not the right strategy at this level anymore and in this type of market. It's just not enough. First. And second, even if you are implementing some of those more advanced strategies where you are doing your outreach, you are meeting people inside of your target companies, realistically, I need for you to hear this, you're probably not doing enough of it. Because if you reach out to 3 people, 5 people, and you leave it at that, that's not enough. In fact, when our new clients start within the Start Canada program, I set a networking challenge for them. And hear this. A networking challenge is you're going to be reaching out to 10 people a day, Monday to Friday. So that's 50 people a week. And you're going to do that for a month. And every single time I set this challenge for you guys inside the program, I hear, ooh, okay, this is a lot. And to that I say, yes, it is. But you also have a big goal. You have a big goal. You want to maybe pivot industries or change functions, and you want 40% salary increase, and you want to move cities. That's a big freaking goal. It's not going to happen by accident. It will require, especially if you don't have established connections, it will require a lot of that outreach. And outside of the outreach, I actually set a target for them of 5 to 10, depending on the circumstances. I set that target of 5 to 10 meetings for them to have those networking meetings, not just outreach, because the goal of the outreach is the meetings. So 5 to 10 meetings in the next month. Yeah. And some of you might be listening and thinking, this is insane. But I'm telling you that that's what it takes. For example, we recently onboarded Kristen just, I believe, a couple of weeks ago, and I outlined her 30-day plan for her. She worked on her mindset first, then on clarity, then she's moved on to her networking challenge. And again, at first she said, okay, this is a lot, but she's just following the plan. I'm not exaggerating. It's been 2 weeks. And I'm already seeing yesterday, she was saying, okay, I have this meeting with an executive, this meeting booked. In fact, one of those meetings, I believe today, she has this meeting, is for her target company in a new industry. And there is a role open that she is eyeing. It's been only a couple of weeks. But again, when you feel like you're doing a lot, oftentimes you're not doing a lot of the right things. And then when you are doing the right things, oftentimes it's just not enough of them. Same goes for interview prep. Our clients start interview prep in the first few weeks before they have an interview. I've talked about this before. You need to be so ready to interview that if I wake you up in the middle of the night when you're job searching, you're ready to go. You don't have time to prepare your interview story bank and really practice all of your stories if you have 2 days to prepare and you haven't interviewed properly in 5 years or 10 years. You have to really start all of that work a lot earlier than you think you need to. And again, with my clients, we literally put time blocks on their calendar where twice or 3 times a week, they have that standing appointment with themselves going through their interview prep. That's what it takes for most people at this level. So if you feel like you're doing a lot already, check. Okay, is this actually getting me interviews? Is this moving the needle? If not, you're probably not doing the right things. And then if you feel like, okay, I'm getting some of the interviews, but it's maybe not enough, or you go into an interview and you don't feel prepared, then maybe you need more outreach so that you have more intel and you need more interview prep. Okay. Second thing that I'm hearing often is that, whoa, Anna, all of this stuff that you're talking about, outreach and confidence work and communication work and positioning work and interview prep, all of that feels like way too much work. And to that, I say, yes, it is. It is a lot of work. The second thing I hear often is when I walk you through all of these steps and I tell you that you do have to start working on your confidence, that you do need to work on your communication and your presence and your positioning, and you do need to be doing your outreach, especially in the beginning. You do need to take up that networking challenge. And what I hear often is, whoa, this is a lot of work. I don't really want to do it. Okay, don't do it. Then how are you expecting to get a dream role that pays multiple six figures without putting the work first? Just think about it. I've talked about this again on the podcast before that it's a big investment for the employer. It's multiple six figures a year that you're getting, plus all the extra expenses for them, plus the time invested in you, plus all the projects that you will be working on. And if it's not the right fit, you're not just costing them that salary, but all of the projects that you're working on. It's a huge investment. And they only spend a couple of hours with you before they need to make this decision. You're asking for a lot. I know that from a candidate perspective, there's a lot of messaging around, ooh, companies are asking us to do all of this stuff in interviews and do case studies. Of course they are, because you're going for a big sale. It's multiple six figures a year in just a few hours. Where else can you make a sale of that magnitude in a couple of hours outside of job search? So, yes, you do need to be doing a lot more, and it is a lot of work, and it should be. I know that's not maybe what you want to hear, but it probably should be. And I'm saying that also as not just as a career coach, but also as an employer because it's a big risk. Okay. Next is this is hard and this market sucks. And I just don't want to deal with this. And if that's coming up for you, what I want for you to think about is you can't really control realistically what's going on in the market. You can't control what's going on in the economy. You can't control what's going on with AI and how AI is shifting how employers hire and who they hire and how many people they hire. You can't really control that. Maybe you can get into politics and maybe big picture there are some changes that you can make, but not tomorrow, not in the next year probably. So, if you can't control that, there is absolutely no point to sit around, again, tough love, guys, and to sit around and complain about this job market. That's external locus of control. You are blaming the external circumstances. While every single successful person that I know has internal locus of control. They do look at what's going on around them in the market, in the economy, and they take that and think, okay, well, what do I need to do to still be successful in this market, in this economy with AI changing things? What do I still need to do? And the answer to that is what has worked before for you in job search 5 years ago or 10 years ago is not going to work. So, yes, it probably will require now that the market is different. And again, it's not a bad market, it's a different market, which means that it will require more action from you, more output. So, what I'm seeing as a career coach 5 years ago, we didn't do a networking challenge of 10 people a day because it was easier to get in front of people. It was easier to get referrals because they're honestly just to get a different circumstances, a different market. So now you do need to push a lot more. And that's why my clients are creating career portfolios and impact preview decks. And they have advocates internally. And they're spending weeks, sometimes months, preparing for interviews because they're looking at what can I control? And that is how I show up, my own skills, my communication, again, my confidence, and who I know and who is advocating for me. That's what you can control. So focus on improving that and stop complaining. Stop complaining about the market. You're only hurting yourself by continuing to complain and spiral. Only you are feeling bad about it. All right. Next is this idea of, oh, I just wish someone maybe can do this for me. And this is where I see people go for headhunters that, hey, maybe a headhunter can just find this role for me. Or, you know what, maybe I'll find some sort of a consultant who can, apply for roles for me or use AI to apply for roles for me. And to that, I say, it sounds, it might sound silly to some of you, but I actually do hear this often. Kind of that deep feeling that people have that this is hard and I don't really want to do it. And this is a lot of effort. Can someone else just do it for me? And if this thought has ever crossed your mind, you want to start thinking about where is this coming from? Because who is going to be showing up for those networking meetings with executives at your target company? Is it going to be the headhunter or the consultant? Or does it have to be you? It kind of has to be you. And you need to have the skill of what do I do with this meeting? How do I turn this into a relationship? How do I turn this into a referral or an opportunity? All right, you got an interview. Who is going to do the interview for you? You have to do it. And again, I'm reiterating this. Once again, it's not going to happen overnight. It's a skill and it takes time. All right, well, let's say you got the job. Okay, well, now you have to be successful in your job. You have to be able to talk to executives in your job, to meet senior clients. Again, you need to have all of those skills. So if you're looking for a shortcut, the best shortcut for you is to learn job searching skills. So, positioning, networking, confidence, communication, that's what you need to focus on. That's the shortcut to that next level role. And if you're thinking, hey, I just need to find the right headhunter, headhunter is not working for you. Headhunter is working for the client, and the client is the company. They don't really care about you, they care about the company and making them happy. And headhunter's job or recruiter's job is not to sell you for your new career, is not to help connect the dots for you. Headhunter's job is to find the easiest, and safest hire. And that is someone who's done this job before. So if you're not going for the exact job that you've had just now with a direct competitor, that's really not a good use of your time. All right. Next one that I hear often is I'm busy. I'm busy. I do want a new job. I do want to maybe pivot or get into a new industry, or I want more money, or I want more fulfillment, but I'm busy because I am studying for this test, or we are moving apartments, or we're getting married, or the list goes on. And to that I say, we're all busy. Everyone's busy. Ask around. All of your friends, family members, everyone's busy. No one will tell you, oh, I have nothing to do. I don't know what to do with my time. Everyone's busy. In fact, it's in human nature to take up all of the time that you have. You will always expand and find things to do with your schedule and your calendar, no matter what's going on in your life. And after you get married, there will be the next thing and the next thing. Or after you move apartments, again, now you're shopping for furniture and you're setting up bills, and there's always something. So, what you need to be asking yourself when you feel like, okay, I do want to do this, but I feel like I'm busy and I'm waiting for this one thing to end, and that is, what is your number one priority right now? Because if your priority, and if you're here right now listening to this, I'm imagining it's getting a new role that you love in 2025. If that is a priority for you, you need to make it your priority. I actually had to push a client on this earlier this week because he felt like, okay, I started this part time opportunity right now while I'm job searching and I have a family. Like, I just feel busy and now I don't have time for job search. And I had to push him that you told me, and the reason you're in the program is because finding a role that you love that also pays 40% more is your priority right now. So you need to make time for it. It's up to you. No one else is going to do this for you. It might look like, and you might not want to hear this, but it might look like staying late one night, or getting up early one morning, or doing this over the weekend. But it does mean that you need to allocate that time on your calendar. And I've shared this again before on the podcast, but the way I used to approach it with a full time job, I would show up to work an hour early before anyone else was there. And I knew that I would have that 1 hour in the morning. I'm already there, I'm in work mode, and it's dedicated to job search. I also have done that during lunchtime, for example. I knew that, okay, every day, no matter what, I'm going to take my lunch break, and I would bring my personal computer to work, and I would go to a coffee shop across the street, and I would do my networking outreach every day for an hour. It's going to look different for different people with different schedules and priorities, but it might mean that you're saying no to some other things in your life right now, or maybe you're getting less sleep. Again, it doesn't mean that you have to do this forever. And I'm not advocating for you not getting sleep. I'm just advocating for you to reassess your priorities. And if you feel like you're busy, actually ask yourself, okay, if I feel this way, but job search is my priority, why am I not making time and room for it? Is there something I'm afraid is going to happen? Or is there something I believe or I'm afraid is not going to happen? Because there is a reason you're avoiding this. Okay. And then the final one that I hear quite often is I'm burned out. I I'm burned out with work or maybe job search or everything combined. I just feel tired and burned out. And I talk about burnout with my clients actually quite often. And I, on the one hand, offer them tools around overcoming that burnout. On the other hand, I also always offer this thought, and that is there are two types of burnout. There is emotional burnout and there is physical burnout. So, physical burnout is when you are working at a hospital 8 hours a week during COVID. That is physical burnout. Most of us are not doing that. Most of us are on Zoom, on our computers, in the office. So, most of us are not physically burned out. Most of us are emotionally burned out. And what is emotional burnout? Emotional burnout is all the drama that we create around what we actually need to do. So let's talk about, let's say, again, let's keep talking about the outreach. And let's say you're doing 10 people a day challenge. That is, you can do it probably in an hour every single day. But if all day you're thinking about it, when I get home, I'll have to do my outreach. Oh, I really want to do it. And all day while you're going through your workday, you're thinking about that. You're just really dreading it. And you're creating just so much resistance within your body that by the time you get to actually doing it, you just really don't want to do it. And it just takes up so much more energy than it really should, because it really should just take that 1 hour and you're done. You're making dinner and you're moving on with your day. So, what we've been talking about earlier, all those thoughts around this job market sucks. This is too much work. I'm already doing a lot. I just wish someone can do this for me. All of that is that drama that you're creating in your own head that's actually making this a lot more difficult for you than it should be. And that's why most of you, when you feel burned out, it's all of those thoughts that are actually causing you to feel this way. And I'm someone who's been severely burned out a couple of times in my life. And I remember I kept blaming my manager because it was a toxic environment and all of that stuff. But the reality is, while that's true, what was actually burning me out is how I was reacting to it, to that toxic manager. And again, all that drama and spiraling that was going on in my head, that's what was exhausting. Friends, I know this was a little bit of a different episode today. I wish for you that what you take away today is that if you learn how to remove all of that drama from your head and you focus on action and action that actually moves the needle, and you apply yourself and probably do more action that and probably take more action that you're taking right now, it's absolutely possible and very much realistic for you to land your dream aligned role that pays multiple six figures before the end of the year. Heck, probably by fall, because I see it with my clients time and time again. Every time they come in, they're ready to go. And they take the strategy that I give them and they just out there taking action, implementing it. And most of them have interviews within the next few weeks, oftentimes within oftentimes within the next couple of weeks. So stop spinning, stop blaming the market, stop blaming the circumstances, find time on your calendar, make this your priority, and take action. I hope that this episode lit a little bit of that fire under you and you're ready to go all out and make it happen. Finally, no more excuses. All right, I will see you in the next episode.